Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to Yonhap News Agency, former South Korean President Yoon Yeol underwent 6 hours of questioning by a special counsel team on Saturday. This marked his first appearance before the investigators since the team was launched in late February. Yoon is facing charges of abuse of power and obstruction of rights over allegations that he directed the Foreign Ministry and the National Security Office to send messages to allies, including the United States, to justify his declaration of martial law on December 3, 2024. The messages reportedly framed the declaration as a necessary measure to defend democracy and counter pro-North Korean forces. Yoon, who is currently held at the Seoul Detention Center, denied the core allegations during his interrogation. His lawyer later clarified that Yoon only made a general statement regarding public communications and did not issue specific directives or receive follow-up reports. According to UPI, Peru is preparing to elect its next president this Sunday in a highly anticipated runoff election. The race pits right-wing Popular Force leader Keiko Fujimori against leftist Coalition Together for Peru candidate Roberto Sanchez. Recent polls show the two candidates in a statistical tie, leaving the final outcome to be determined by undecided voters. The election highlights Peru's deep political fragmentation and institutional crisis, as the winner will become the country's 9th president in just 10 years. Analysts describe the nation as a democracy without parties, where personal leadership has replaced stable political structures. Fujimori, the polarizing daughter of former President Alberto Fujimori, is making her 4th consecutive presidential bid. Sanchez, a less familiar figure, has centered his campaign on appealing to supporters of ousted former President Pedro Castillo. Experts warn that regardless of who wins, the next administration faces the monumental task of restoring governability, tackling corruption, and improving public security. Due to the extremely narrow margin in polls, observers also anticipate potential post-election disputes over the final results. According to Al Jazeera, the United States military has intercepted several Iranian ballistic missiles and drones launched towards Kuwait, Bahrain, and the Strait of Hormuz as bilateral interim peace negotiations remain stalled. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, reported downing 6 out of 7 ballistic missiles on Friday night, shortly after intercepting 4 attack drones. In response, U.S. forces launched retaliatory strikes against Iranian coastal radar surveillance sites. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, claimed its actions were retaliation for previous U.S. strikes and targeted U.S. bases and tankers trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is demanding sanctions waivers and the lifting of port blockades, while the U.S. insists on reopening the waterway and nuclear concessions. Meanwhile, Israel continues its heavy bombardment of southern Lebanon, where an Israeli strike recently killed several Lebanese soldiers. High-level political friction persists, with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi rejecting claims by Lebanese President Joseph Aoun that Beirut is being used as a bargaining chip in negotiations with the U.S. According to a report by Lianhe Zawabab, Australia's wheat production for the current season is projected to fall by more than a quarter due to severe drought and the ongoing Middle East conflict. The Australian Department of Agriculture released a report indicating that this season's wheat harvest is expected to reach 26.7 million tons, marking a 26% decline compared to the same period last year, and a 23% drop from the 5-year average. The drop is partially driven by a 12% reduction in planting area to 10.9 million hectares, the lowest level since the 2019-2020 season. Farmers have scaled back wheat cultivation due to weakening global wheat prices and narrowing profit margins, exacerbated by rising fuel and fertilizer costs caused by trade disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. As a major global wheat exporter supplying Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and China, Australia's agricultural sector faces significant pressure from the U.S.-Iran war, now in its fourth month. Ongoing conflicts could sustain high production costs. Additionally, El Niño-induced dry weather during the critical spring sowing period and mouse plagues in Western and South Australia further threaten crop yields. According to a report by Liberty Times, Xiaodong, the chairman and party group secretary of the Beijing Municipal Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, is under investigation for alleged serious violations of discipline and law. The investigation was announced by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and the National Commission of Supervision. Though specific details regarding his alleged offenses remain undisclosed. Wei, 65, has had a long political career spanning several key positions in the Ministry of Labor and Personnel and the State Commission for Office Sector Reform before serving in regional leadership roles in Henan Province. He later took on prominent organizational and legislative roles in Beijing before becoming the city's CPPCC chairman in 2022. This case adds to a growing list of high-ranking cadres swept up in China's recent anti-corruption campaign. With approximately 30 officials of vice ministerial rank or higher targeted this year across various sectors. External analysts suggest this intensified anti-graft drive is tied to political maneuvering ahead of next year's 21st National Congress of the CCP, as Beijing seeks to reshape local power dynamics and align political loyalties. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.